Hello, trumpet players. I want to share with you my story about how I eventually found the sound that I use now in my trumpet playing. I always wanted to be an orchestral trumpet player. Uh, in the end, I ended up not going that route because of my hearing loss. And I did get to play one gig with the Houston Symphony. This is back when um, John DeWitt was still in the orchestra, and the way he said it to me, I might be misremembering this, but he said, we've got a lead player that we call, we've got a jazz player we call, but we need someone now for this concert that does both. So I got to play with him in the Houston Symphony. Um, it was a pops concert, but still. And so I was hanging out with the trumpet players behind in the backstage area, and I told him that uh, the reason I stopped pursuing orchestral auditions is because I realized my hearing loss was so bad that I would never be able to hear the conductor. And the reason I brought it up is because, sure enough, sitting that far from the conductor, I had to ask John every time the conductor said something. What did he say? What did he say? And you know what? John said that would have been all right. He wouldn't have, if it was him, he wouldn't have minded. It would have bothered me. So I think I made the right choice not to continue the orchestral stuff. I am grateful that I pursued that because of the education I got out of it. But it was wrong for me to ever be in an orchestra. I don't mind subbing like I did for the Houston Symphony and other orchestras. I don't mind that. As long as there's somebody that can tell me what's going on. Right? Anyway, so I'm telling you that as part of the backstory why this even matters, right? Because um, when I was studying the orchestra stuff, there was so much emphasis placed on getting the right sound. And the last teacher I had, I rarely mention his name. When I talk about the last teacher or my last teacher, it's actually two different teachers that I'm talking about. This is the one I don't talk about. So, but he told me, this guy told me, you will never have the sound if you don't like the sound. And the way I took that when he said it was, how do I make myself like that sound? How do I make myself like the sound that's going to get me into an orchestra? It was 2 or 3 years later when I had an epiphany. I was in a Tom Borling bebop band rehearsal. We used to meet every Tuesday morning. There is an album, look up Tom Borling Bebop Band. And I think out of the 10 tunes or 12 tunes, all but one of them are my compositions. So if you want to hear some of my jazz compositions, look up the Tom Borling Bebop Band. Anyway, I was in a rehearsal for that band, and I had an epiphany. This guy was absolutely correct. He was right. But it didn't mean that I needed to change my sound. What I needed to do was find the sound that I did like. Because here's what my thinking is. If I like my sound, I can stand on stage in front of thousands of the most critical players in the world. And I won't have a problem because I like it. It wouldn't matter to me if they didn't like it. So I had a huge shift in my thought. I shouldn't be pursuing the sound or that sound. I should be pursuing my sound. That was like, for my trumpet practice time, that was a paradigm shift. It was because for my whole life, I was always doing it other people's way. I was always looking, how do I do it their way? How do I do it their way? Now I was looking for my own thing. And you know what they call this outside of outside of the world of music education? They call it finding your voice. And I'm quite happy to tell you, as a trumpet player, I have found my voice. Now I'm still in the process of developing that. But not long after that revelation that I had, I actually found the sound that I liked. And it doesn't, think about how different that is when you like what you're doing. It changes everything. Music is kind of weird like that, you know? We have to be selfish to the point where we reach that kind of satisfaction. Otherwise, this never happens. Now, I do believe in selflessness, but I do that in the way that I serve people. I am selfless when I teach my lessons. I am selfless when I play a gig. I am selfless when I write a composition or write a book. All of that is in service to you, in service to the community, in service to my students, in service to the band members and the leader. My heart, when it comes to interacting with other people, is I have a heart of service. But when it comes to developing my own music, the way I play and the way the way my styles are when I write the music and stuff like that, there's a degree of selfishness to it because I want to like what's coming out. And that's what happened with my sound. And you know what? When you're looking for your best sound, the sound that you like, it changes everything about the way you practice. It changes so you're not now struggling to find this thing that's literally unfindable. You're not struggling anymore to find this thing. So, you know, I say it's a little selfish. That's a lot better than being, what's that word? Jealous, envious. So, what I was taught was to have musical envy. Oh, I wish I had that sound. Oh, if only I could have the sound that guy has. And with that one revelation 2 years after this other teacher told me this, I did a 360 from that attitude, that envious attitude, to this more selfish attitude. Maybe selfish is the wrong word. Self-centered. Those all sound like insults, and I don't know the best way to say it. But you have to like what's coming out. It can't be, when it comes to the sound you have, and to use that term that the non-educated, non-academic people use. I don't want to say they're not educated, but the non-academic people, they talk about finding your voice. I'm on their side now. I'm on their side. Your voice is unique to you. Now, let me tell you how this applies to, because I know a lot of you, if you are orchestral players, it's hard enough to get a gig as it is. So going for your sound may seem counterintuitive, right? It might, or counterproductive, both. It may seem like that might cut you out of all the auditions because aren't they looking for the sound? That's how we were taught. They're looking for the sound. Well, let me tell you what Dick Schaefer told me. This is back when I was still auditioning. He says he liked to always like enact these little skits, right? I loved his lessons because he had all these different skits, and he would wheel out a kiosk in your lesson, an imaginary kiosk, and he rolls it out and he opens up the flaps so that the orchestra committee can audition committee can see what you have to offer. And he says if they don't like it, close the flaps, take your kiosk somewhere else. Take your kiosk to all the different people that you can take it to and find the people that like what you do. That's what he taught me about the auditions. It's extremely valuable information. Because you know what it does? You know, you guys know that I'm way, way deep into the psychological effects of the things that we do, especially in the way we practice, but there's a lot of underlying stuff. When you have the attitude, I want to play, I want to make that orchestra at all costs, instead of doing the shopping around thing that Dick Schaefer taught me, it changes the way you think about yourself. It changes the way you think about the music. It changes, let's say you did win. It changes your relationship with that orchestra. Think about that. They didn't choose you because you were genuine and they like who you are. No. In the back of your head, you're always going to think that they chose you because you pushed all the right buttons. You got the right sound. You played the right style. You did all these things right. And that's why they chose you. Now, the pressure's on. Because now, if that wasn't the real you, now you have to live a lie for a living, for your income. You have to continue to be fake and do the things that maybe, hey, you don't really like. Whereas if you do Dick Schaefer's approach and take that kiosk to the people who like what you do, look at how the relationship changes. Those people chose you because you gave them your most honest, personal, musical character. They got a genuine product. And when you get the gig, you don't have to fake it. You don't have to keep working at it. Because what they got was the real you. So that's where I've taken that revelation. He was right. That original teacher was right. He said, you're never going to play with this sound unless you like that sound. Well, let's turn that around. You will never be your best player, the best player that you can possibly be, until you like what's coming out of the horn. So he was right. He was just doing it from the wrong side. He was right, but he was doing it from the opposite side. You have to find what works for you. All right? That's my story about how I got the sound I have. And all of the exercises I do All my routines, I wrote them originally for me. And those routines lead towards the sound that I like. And the beautiful thing about that is if you don't like it, I don't care. There are plenty of people that like what I like. Plenty enough that I can still make a living at this. Okay? Alright, that's what I've got for you in this video. God bless you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Or comments. Or if you want to share your story, please do. Other than that, God bless you. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.